All right, we got this little bastard right here, hanging out, probably smelling my blood. Whoa. So I don't know what species this is, but this looks like it's definitely in the family Tabanidae. You see those mouth parts sticking down. They're like little scissors or nail clippers. And they're perfectly suitable for cutting into your skin. I really hope I don't get bit by these today. Good morning, welcome everybody. Greetings from the east side of the Australian continent. It's your boy Ichabod Slice. And just as always, we out here biologizing. So out here on the east side, it's much more of a subtropical climate. You get periodic rains all throughout the year. And yeah, we just taking a little peruse, a little gallivant, and we're gonna try to see what glorious examples of flora and fauna that this particular geographic location has to offer. Ooh, how's that for a view, huh? It's kind of a good overview of the overall habitat here in this part of East Australia. Somewhat reminiscent of a rainforest, somewhat. So yeah, Australia, so the majority of the rock of Australia is composed of sandstone type rock. I guess in the past, it was mostly sedimentary soils or sedimentary substrates that were deposited. And I imagine because like a lot of it's like kind of very sandy, like it crumbles pretty easily. So it might be well drained, but like the further down you go, probably becomes less well drained. So any rain that occurs here, like it'll percolate maybe a little bit through the top layer, you know, not get as deep and then kind of just flow out sideways, following the gradient basically. Right here, this is interesting. We got Myrmecia, aka the bulldog ant. I'm not sure exactly what species it is, but these are considered highly aggressive ants. Very big too, easily about an inch. Crazy. Now here's the flowers of that Xanthorrhea. This one's a nice blooming individual right here. Showing you what it's supposed to look like when it's in its reproductive stage of its life. Super long stalk full of flowers. The bottom ones are the more mature ones towards the end of the stalk, or flowers that haven't sprouted yet. That's nice. Okay, we got some interesting Lepidopteran. I'm actually not sure what the family is. When I saw it flying around, I was assuming that it was Nymphalidae, but the way it's sitting on the ground right now with its wings folded, I'm questioning that. I'm not sure of any nymphalids that have its wings folded when it's stationary. I didn't bring a net with me, otherwise I would catch it and look at it further up close. It's got decent camouflage, decent cryptic coloration to help it blend in with the leaf litter. It's just kind of unique for me to see a Lepidopteran that flies around like a butterfly but lands like a moth. Alright, here's two of them mating. Male just attached to the female while she brings them along for a ride. There we got the famous rainbow lorikeet. Another cetaciform here in the continent of Australia. This is the first time I got close to them. I was seeing them all over. Okay, I believe that is a species of honey eater. Doing its honey eating thing. These guys are a pretty important pollinator for a lot of the plant species out here, particularly the Banksia. I think there's at least two species of honey eaters out here. All right there. I believe that is called the New Holland honey eater. Family Melophagidae. This is one of the more common birds out here. It's plenty of them around. Again, one of the more important pollinators of the Banksia and the tea trees out here. It's got that slightly decurved beak, which allows it to get into the nectar reserves of many of the flowers over here. Curious what's under these rocks. I'm seeing, like, you see those, we got some sort of tadpole species here. I wonder what it is. Oh, right there. Oh, should we pick it up? Should we pick it up? Oh, look at that. Oh, no. Oh, look at this right here. It's an interesting little anurin. Goddamn tabanids, man, they just won't stop bothering me. I'm gonna get bit for sure, I can feel it. Anyway, it seemed to be at this seep system right here, and get the I mean, you can see that there's a little bit of a seep system here, and you can see the dark topsoil that hasn't been affected by the building of this road. This road was cut basically down to a soil level where you can see there's not a lot of organics in it. Anyway, so I was lifting up these rocks, saw these tadpoles, and then I came up on this little anurin right here. Have no idea what family it is nor the species, but it is cool nonetheless. The patterns on his eyes make it look like it's high, huh? Well, you see that throat pulsing right there? That's how it breathes. It has muscles that causes that bulging in the throat to pump air in and out of its lungs. And of course it is an amphibian, so it does have the ability to extract oxygen through its skin. But yeah, nice little anurin right here. Anura is the order of frogs. All right, let's let it go. So we got an interesting plant right here. This is Drosera spatulata in the Droseraceae family. Carnivorous plant, common name known as honeydews. And the way that they quote unquote eat their prey is they have these like real sticky little glands on each of the leaves right there, like a little droplet of sticky fluid on a little petiole-like structure. And an unsuspecting insect that crawls on it, I guess it might be attracted to like the scent of nectar, so it kind of gives it some little like bait, nectar bait scent. The bug lands on it and gets stuck, and then that leaf will just kind of roll over and secrete digestive fluids and extract a lot of the nitrogen compounds that it needs in order to do a lot of its biological processes, i.e. DNA replication and growth, protein synthesis and growth. Yeah, these are typically found in wet climates and kind of near wetland systems. And I mean, where I'm standing at right now is, I guess it would be considered a wetland system. It's a seepage, so water flows through here, I would assume, regularly. But that's cool though. Drosera. Got another lepidopteran. This one also looks like a nymphalid. With the spots on there, actually kind of looks very similar to what we got out in California, a butterfly known as the common buckeye. Undoubtedly, those eye spots there help with deterring predators. All right, seems like we have some species of skincid. And I have a feeling this is white skink. That's the common name. Not too sure but it's in the family Skincidae, which is the family of all skinks. Kind of a widespread family. I guess it's here just getting a drink in this puddle because it rained last night pretty heavy. It just dove underwater. What the hell? G'day mates, what's poppin'? It's your boy Ichabod Slice and I'm sitting here in the temperate rainforest of Eastern Australia. So right now I'm deep in the bush somewhere, deep in the bush of one of the national park systems out here. And I'm having a blast just being overwhelmed with all the sensory input from all the newish species that I've never come in contact before ever in my life. But yeah, like I mentioned, we're in a temperate rainforest. The main dominant trees of the canopy are either eucalyptus or Corymbia trees, also known as gum trees. I think the dominant eucalyptus is Eucalyptus haematoma or Scribbly Eucalyptus. And I think there's at least 2 species of Corymbia. There's a smooth bark apple Corymbia, and I think spotted Corymbia. So here's the eucalyptus, the Scribbly Eucalyptus. You can see why they call it Scribbly, because these are actually galleries that are produced by an insect that has a close relationship with this species of tree. It's a moth larvae actually. And as the bark peels off, well, it'll be underneath that layer of bark and basically eat some of that layer, creating these galleries inside. And they kind of move in a random pattern and everything. That's why it looks like these scribbles. And here we have one of the other dominant trees. This is in the genus Corymbia. Same family, Myrtaceae, as all those eucalyptus. I think this is Corymbia gummifera, or I think the common name is red blood gum. Notice it's got this different bark, much more like shingle-like, definitely more textured, not as smooth, but definitely one of those dominant trees in the upper canopy. And as you notice in the understory, like this kind of like medium-sized layer is very dense, very dense. It's almost like a really dense, scrubby understory here. And one of the dominants in this understory are these right here. This is Petrophile, genus Petrophile. I think the common name for these things is cone sticks, as you can see right there. The other dominant one that I'm seeing right here, this is Plantae in the Fabaceae family, and you can see it's in the Fabaceae because you look at those flowers, it's got that classic banner and then keel type flower, typical of the family Fabaceae. And then you got your get the hell away from me plant. This is in the genus Hackea. It's got those super sharp spines. If you're walking through this, you definitely gonna feel it. And then you got your showy flowers, the showy shrubby flowers. This is Grevillea, otherwise known as spider flowers. And you can see why people might be calling them spider flowers. We have another species of Grevillea, a little more showy, another type of spider flower. So you kind of get an idea of the diversity out here, or at least the adaptive radiation of many different taxa, groups of organisms. Yeah, these all seem to be some of the dominant vegetation found in this temperate rainforest, at least in the spot where I'm sitting at right now. But you know, we're gonna keep hiking down these trails and everything and see what other glorious examples of nature that Eastern Australia has to offer here in this lovely temperate rainforest. Oh, I forgot to mention another serious dominant plant in this ecosystem. This is Banksia. There are many, many species of Banksia all throughout the continent, and especially here on the eastern side of Australia. And we're going to see a couple of representatives of this genus for sure. Family Proteaceae too. The family Proteaceae is very prevalent out here in Australia as well. Not just Australia, New Zealand, New Caledonia, kind of, you know, the area of the Southeast Pacific, or Southwestern Pacific, I should say. I don't know if you notice, a lot of the plants have these like cone-like or even like stalk-like type of flowers and fruiting bodies and everything. For some reason, this overall type of shape seems to be advantageous for a lot of the vegetation out here. You see right here, like these little things, I think these are like the old styles from the flower that just remain dried out once it gets old. I'm pretty sure it already fruited already. Here's a younger one right here. You can see that it looks nice. You can see that the structure of it is very visually pleasing, I'm sure, or visually terrifying, I guess. If you have trichophobia, I don't know if this triggers you. Banksia isn't the only genus that has like these strobilus-like flower structures too. I mean, if you look at this Petrophile right here, I mean this cone stick plant, it also has kind of a strobilus-like flower structure. Yeah, you can see this is what it looks like. There you got the old flowers on the bottom, new flowers on top, and when these mature, they'll mature into a structure similar to a pine cone like this, although it's not related to pine cones at all. And so I guess like these strobilus type of structures are pretty advantageous in this type of region, mainly because like there's a specific type of bird, group of birds known as honey eaters that I think tend to take the nectar from these flower structures, and in doing so help pollinate the plant. But yeah, Banksia, strobilus producing flowers, family Proteaceae, a family that's very common in this part of the world, Australia, New Zealand, New Caledonia, you know, countries like that. All right, here we got what might be an example of convergent evolution. I mean, if you didn't know any better about botany, you might think that this is some type of daisy, but it's actually not. It's in the Apiaceae family, which is the carrot family. So, however long ago when carrot species, well, Apiacean species, was isolated here in Australia, cut off from other continents, like let's say South America, they evolved in a different way based on the environmental pressures that were present along that period of time. And ever since I've been in Australia, I honestly haven't seen any Asteraceans, any true daisy plants. Yeah, so this Actinotus has actually evolved like a much different morphology, flower morphology, and structure that is actually way different from the typical Apiaceans. So this one had evolved basically to look like a daisy, but it looks kind of cool though because you see it's got like fringes on those petals. I don't even know if those are actually petals, or I wonder if they're like sepals or something. Yeah, to me that's wild. You know, Apiacean that don't look like an Apiacean. It's an Apiacean that looks like an Asteracean. So I'm looking at this Allocasaurina, and I'm see this little twisty plant right here. I wonder if this is a parasite, because it seems kind of dug in. I don't know if it's inserting its tissues into its host plant. But I don't know. First thing that comes to mind is that it's a parasitic plant, because you can see it's like wrapped around these leaves, and they're like very like tightly wrapped around. Yeah, I wonder if it's parasitic. Guess I wouldn't be surprised if it is parasitic. All right, right there, we got an example in the family Tetragnathidae, and I want to say this is in the genus Nephila, which is a common genus in Southeast Asia, in many tropical areas, and I guess here in the subtropical. The family is known as long-jawed orb weavers, but the members within this genus don't have those typical massive chelicerae. These ones have small chelicerae. This one's a small one too. I guess another common name for these things is called banana spiders. And some individuals can get massive, like some of the biggest orb weaving spiders out there. There's even a species that the webs are actually used to weave and make clothing, like scarves. And another species where the web is strong enough where they can weave it and braid it in the fishing line. Here's another one on a web that's right next to the one that I was filming. I guess this must be a good spot where insects fly through, or, you know, they can easily get food. But if you look right above it, there's the male. And this is typical with spiders, where the male is much, much smaller than the female. They actually don't live as long as females too. It's almost as if the only purpose for male spiders is just to exchange genetic information, increase the genetic diversity of the species. So you basically have a toolbox of genes to deal with any changing factors to the climate. Here again, another Lepidopteran. Definitely looks like Nymphalidae. Again, similar to the buckeye species, at least with those eye spots. Alright, there seems to be a decent amount of bird activity going on. So I'm gonna do the difficult thing and try to get some birds observations under my belt for this biologizing trip. And to do that, I'm just gonna sit down, relax, maybe eat a little lunch, and just wait for the birds to come to me. Also, I'm gonna try to be as quiet as possible. Birds, for some reason, get really annoyed when people are talking. So I'm gonna shut my mouth, and hopefully they come around and I can get some footage to show you. All right, let's do this. What is that? Look at this. So if you don't know much about insects, I'll let you know right now. This is in the order Blattodea, which is the order of cockroaches, and it indeed is a cockroach. I have no idea what kind of species of cockroach it is, but it is very showy. And I have a feeling that because of the colors, this is aposematic. So it could be foul tasting or even poisonous. I am not sure, but I've never seen a cockroach like this before. This is amazing. Look at those sericea right there. Synapomorphy of all cockroaches and orthopteroideans also. And I wonder what it's doing right now. Oh, it's getting scared. It's getting scared. It's an arboreal cockroach too. Usually cockroaches would be on the ground. Or maybe it is a ground dwelling species and just so happened to climb up this bush. I would just let it go on its way. Ooh, there we go. There we go. That's a flagship species for Australia. Right there, that's the kookaburra, or one species of kookaburra. Same family as kingfishers. I guess this is a kingfisher species that doesn't really do what most kingfishers do, which is actually catch fish. It's got that classic, sorry, that was horrible. What the hell is that? Is that a galliform? Certainly walking around like a galliform. Okay, okay. Hey, let's go. Okay, so I think this is what they call a tailor. Corangiform. Ooh. Pretty tough fighting fish too. Notice it's got the continuous second dorsal fin and the continuous anal fin, plus these sharp first dorsal spines. You got some pretty sharp teeth too, so you don't want to be thumbing these. Yeah, the tailor fish, Corangiformes.